I'm standing by you because That Does Nothing is about to be the single biggest failure in the history of personal computing.
Tell me something else I don't know.
So, you thought our background was boring, eh? Boom! Check it out.
Still boring.
Actually, some people still think it's boring. But do you have a Street Fighter 2 cabinet in your background, neckbeards?
Do you have a giant mask that you'll never wear in the background? We do.
We brought Oscar back as well by popular
We got
demand.
this sexy little thing too. You can see her butt.
Oh boy, that sounded bad.
So this is our background finally completed. We're sorry for the weeks of shitty, just red brick weirdness that you had to enjoy. It wasn't a green screen, it was real.
I wasn't sure either, to be honest. When Ralph was like, hey, we're gonna do this brick thing, I was like, I'll go along with it. And Ralph's like, hey, we should buy this arcade. I'm like, fine. Like, we don't. But now I see the finished product, I actually think it looks very good, and it was all my idea.
I think that this story really mirrors the journey of Fallout 76.
I agree.
A product that launched completely shit and is still completely shit.
And with that, let's drop. Before the drop, I'm like, is that the drop? I was like, it's good enough. Alright, well, it's just like Fallout. It's like, it's good enough, right? No, it's not, everybody. It's always perfection that we want here. Fallout 76, also perfection. So guys, Todd Howard, he's been very radio silent, to be honest, with this whole Fallout 76 meme. It's the biggest meme of the 21st century. Okay, I nearly said 20th century. 21st century. Haven't really heard
feels
much.
like a game from the 20th century.
It really feels like
really
the first game ever created. They were just trying some shit out. Finally, he's kind of come out and said, look guys, let's talk about 76 and let's be a little bit honest with a little bit of bullshit too. There's
a lot of bullshit in this, let's be real. It was actually an interview conducted with IGN's Ryan McCaffrey. He does a series called like IGN Unplugged, I believe it's called, something like that, where he just sits down with people and just talks about stuff. It's, you know, it's meant to be real, it's meant to be unscripted or whatever else. It obviously is very real and very unscripted here because you can tell that Todd's certainly on some uncomfortable territory.
Definitely.
It feels like Ryan's actually in uncomfortable territory as well. He's sort of like thinking about, how do I ask these questions without getting blacklisted? This is going to be awkward. So.
Yeah, definitely unplugged is the word because a lot of people unplug their machine after playing Fallout 76. So it's a good segment for them to have Todd Howard on, everybody.
So there's a lot to this. We're only going to talk about the parts where Todd himself is talking about Fallout 76. Here's how this whole discussion gets going.
You know, so that project certainly at launch was simply just not super well received, critically certainly.
I feel like that's the best opening. So like Ryan McCaffrey being so diplomatic, being like, wasn't super well received, and Todd just like seething like.
You can see the pain in his eyes.
Yes.
He has to close his eyes. Like, I can't do it. I can't do this.
Do you have an idea of how it's going to land, or were you caught off guard by the launch of that game?
We knew we were going to have a lot of bumps. That's a difficult development. A lot of new systems and things like that. Hey, we're going to go try this new thing. And anytime you're going to do something new like that, you know you're going to have your bumps. You know that a lot of people might say, that's not the game we want from you.
So, okay, so, number one, we knew that we're going to have a lot of bumps, people. They knew this game was shit. That's what he's trying to say there. He knew this game was dog shit, and people were going to get angry as fuck about it. But the biggest thing, of course, is when he says, we know that this is not the game that we want from you. We don't want a game that's not working, you mean? Or like shit? Or like...
I don't want a shit game.
The worst game I think most people have ever played? Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, that's not the game that people want from you, to be honest. We want another Skyrim, bugs and all, everyone.
Yeah, I think what Todd's really saying here is they knew their game was broken before launch. And that's a big admission. And it's a frustrating admission because let's be real here, like you've got a company that was hyping up one of their biggest releases ever, knowing that it was going to go into consumers' hands broken, knowing they'd have to pay full price for it and just being like, fuck it, we're going to do it anyway.
Another brandy.
Gentlemen, to evil.
I think, you know, it's one thing to have, you know, you pour your heart and soul into a game and you think it's a good product, you know, and then it actually gets released and it doesn't review as well as you wanted. It's another thing entirely, we're like, oh, we know this is shit, but hey, pay $80 for this thing. Or like, pay for the fucking beta. We'll come back to the beta later, but like, my God, beta right here, okay? It just shows how unethically, the unethical way in which they kind of promoted this game and put it into consumers' hands knowing that it was shit, you know?
And that was a very difficult development on that game to get it where it was. And we were ready for you know, a lot of those difficulties ended up on the screen, and we knew, hey, look, this is not the type of game that people are used to from us, and we're gonna get some criticism on it.
Yeah.
And a lot of that very well-deserved criticism.
So,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, again, this is just him further reinforcing the idea that they knew, like, a lot of these difficulties would end up on the screen.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you knew that was the case, why the fuck did you release this game? Like, what the hell went through your mind you thought this is a good idea?
You'd been on like quite the hot Las Vegas type of winning streak.
Sure.
You personally, like a Todd Howard, your
Sure.
name on something. So that was.
But we knew that going into this. We knew it's
Yeah.
not that, right?
Yeah.
You would say, look, this isn't a game, even from the beginning, this is not going to be like, you know, high Metacritic game. That's not what this is.
Yeah, so this is not one of those games that's, you know, gonna score high. Like, we knew it was gonna score shit, you know. Like, we weren't aiming for good, everybody. We were aiming for shit. I just would love to see, you know, the inspirational speech that Todd Howard would have given the dev staff. Guys, we're here to do shit, okay? We don't want those, you know, 90 Metacritic shit. We want the 40s, man. Actually,
right.
this is even lower than 40, isn't it? This is like 25 or some shit on Metacritic.
We gave it a 0.
We gave it a 0. Did you watch our review?
World's first 0 out of 10 for Fallout 7. We're very proud of that review.
I don't think we're ever going to give another game a 0 out of 10. Oh, Diablo Immortal. That'll probably get a 0 out of 10. Looking forward to that.
No, but,
Yeah.
but Todd to seriously sit there with a straight face and say we knew this was not going to be a high Metacritic game. Like, what the fucking fuck are you talking about, dude? It's Bethesda Studios here. It's one of the most beloved game studios in the world, dealing with one of the most beloved franchises. And he said, we purposefully set the bar very low, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
And-
why
and-
the fuck would you do that?
And coming
Like, why?
back to being unethical, if you're openly saying, "Hey, look, I don't think this game is going to be very good. We weren't aiming for good." Why are you aiming for the same price point then for a game that's supposed to be in the 90s?
Yeah.
The price should have been a lot less. I would have been a lot more forgiving to Bethesda
Yeah.
if the price was $35 Australian. You know, like they knew it was shit. You know, but instead it's $80 here, $100 here. The special edition was like $120, all right? So the most expensive piece of shit you'll ever have to buy.
But we felt strongly this is a game we want to play. This is something we really want to do. And all of the games like this, whether it's us or somebody else, you can go back and look at them. There's a period once you launch. It's not how you launch, it's what it becomes. And
So this is actually one of the central, this is probably the central thesis running through this video here in Todd's words.
Yeah.
Is this idea that we knew this game would be shit at launch because all games of this type are shit at launch. Therefore, we didn't really have a responsibility to try and make it good at launch.
Sure.
It was really about where you end up landing after the post-development issues. It's not about where you're at launch. And that's such a fucked idea that has become so sort of deeply ingrained in AAA games, live service development. And you've really just got Todd giving it voice here and saying, this is how it works. We launch shitty games, we know they're going to be shit, and it's about whether or not we can eventually make them good.
Yeah,
and that is fucked.
I think that it's other games are shit, so we can be shit too.
Yeah.
It's like instead of going into this space and going, okay, cool, we're gonna do it differently. We're gonna try and do what Division 2 really did. You know, a very finished product. Fine, the end game wasn't exactly what people wanted, but all in all, it reviewed well, and it's a
very complete game at launch.
Exactly.
From the early game, right? The end game certainly has its issues with things like build diversity and the value of PvP versus what it was in the past and those sorts of things. But at the end of the day, that was a really solid foundation that everyone's like, cool, I got my $60 out of that. And if the developers want to add more stuff onto that afterwards, great. But it wasn't like they got ripped off at the early game because that was already all there.
Yeah.
Todd's basically saying, it doesn't matter if we rip you off at the early game. What matters is we eventually build a late game.
Is there a strategy for kind of getting over that, shaking the reputation that it got at launch and kind of winning people back over?
I think, well, there's no strategy other than just keep making the game better. And people who play it and they'll come back. And it was, by the way, it's been very popular, right? So
Yeah.
It was a huge release for us. The community around it's really, really strong. Obviously, it got a lot of criticism and stories, and we see all that. And it's not, you don't want to read that, but it is what it is. And again, we deserved a lot of that.
So basically what Todd's saying is he watched my review and the Laymen review.
Well, if he watched us, we only said good things, people. Okay,
did.
0 out of 10. You just gotta move that 1 over. There we go. It's a 10. Okay, it's all good.
On that note, like if you knew going into 76 that it was maybe gonna be a little bumpy, what when it actually comes out and you see the real world feedback and reaction to it, and what have you learned from 76?
Well, the main takeaway we had was you got to let it bake with a large live audience for longer than we did. there's just certain things you can never see until it's running 24/7 for a number of months. So, if there's one thing that we could have, I think I would have done differently, is find a way to let at scale people be playing the game 24/7 before you say, everybody in, here you go, pay us.
Pay us. Don't worry, that's getting memed in future.
That's definitely going to be
Save
in the
that clip
rotation.
in the file.
I love it. He's like, I just wish there was some sort of way that we could have mass tested this in some sort of, way. I wonder if anything is possible like that.
So fucked, man.
My God, I mean...
I remember actually when they announced their break early test application.
break it early
beta,
application test.
That everyone was like, what the fucking fuck? Are you serious? That's all you're doing for beta?
2
Like,
weeks.
it was like 2 weeks of this massive game. Beta test, and we knew how fucked Bethesda was with bugs. Everyone was like, for the love of Todd, please don't do this. Give us more time to test this game.
Yep.
And then, when it actually came out as the beta, they had very limited test windows. You could only test it for certain hours on certain days during that period. So it wasn't like 2 weeks continuous.
Yep.
It was like some little... Oh man,
That
it
was
just-
strategically done because I knew a lot of people would be at work and they thought, okay, this is going to be a lot smoother if we don't have a huge ton of people coming in. But the bottom line is, 2 weeks before launch, it's not a beta, it's actually a demo. And my God, it's like, of course you need to give us at least 2, 3, 5, like Overwatch, like what, a year of
like
beta
18
testing?
months of beta testing.
And like how polished and beautiful was that game? Still a fan today.
I just
okay?
feel like this is the worst part of this entire interview, to be honest, because this is like Todd at his most disingenuous, where he's like, there's certain things you could only experience after playing the game and 24 hours and millions of people. Dude, as soon as anyone logs into that game, you are immediately going to bump into 30 or 40 bugs to be like, hang on a second, this is fucked, this isn't
Totally.
ready. For him to sit there with a straight face and say, we could never have expected that this would be this broken. I mean, how could we know? Like, that is such bullshit. And it also flies in the face of this is how the industry does this sort of stuff. Like, you beta test large-scale releases. That's what you do.
Yep.
And for him to sit there like, I wish there was some way we could have seen this earlier. Like,
Definitely.
this entire part is complete, as I said, disingenuous bullshit. It really pisses me off. Of all the shit within this interview, this is the most fucked part.
And it really does show that he knew, okay, yes, he's already said it's shit, but again, he's also strategically put the beta so close to the actual release that, of course, there wasn't enough time for a huge backlash and then for him to have to push it back.
And then that's like, for the likes of me, when I did my video, got over
Shit.
1 million views, and I'm like, listen, guys, don't buy this game, it's fucking broken. Downvoted to hell, because so many people were like, guys, it's the beta.
Yeah.
You gotta have some faith. They're gonna fix all the issues. Morons, like complete gullible morons, just like took it hook, line, and sinker. Because that's what Bethesda wanted. They fell for exactly the trap that Bethesda laid, and this is exactly what Todd's talking about here. So it's really gross. Let's just keep watching.
Maybe you wish you'd launched that into Steam Early Access,
Whether
or Xbox Game Preview, and
or something like
those whole
or
things.
Okay, you're a Fallout 4 player. We're going to let you in the beta for free for this period of time.
Yeah.
Things like that
Yeah.
I think would have made a world of difference in how the game hit on day one.
So again, Todd actually provides this perfect solution here that everyone was saying, like, something similar to this back in the day as well. But let's remember, Bethesda only let you in the beta if you had pre-ordered the video game.
bought
If you
the
had
game.
already bought the game, not
Yeah.
knowing if it's broken or not, that's the only way you could test this product first. So, like, again, complete disingenuous, deceptive bullshit.
And it shows really that the whole pre-order thing is just a trap, and it's so ripe to be misused, and it's a perfect example of being misused here. They knew they had a shit product. They were just looking to hook people and play this garbage beta before it came out.
Do you think 76 has had any lasting sort of damage to Bethesda's reputation or Fallout's reputation?
Can I give you a hug?
No, thanks.
Please?
No, thanks.
A little one.
Yeah, no, thanks.
Yeah.
You could take most popular online games and go back to day zero, and they're going to go through their problems. And you're seeing that kind of across the industry.
Yeah.
That was the part we knew. I was to say that's the part we knew going in. No matter what we do, we're going to have some problems.
Yeah.
So again, this is coming back to that earlier point where Todd knew it was going to be fucked. And rather than try and buck the trend that he's seeing, rather than Bethesda saying, we're better than that, we're going to release the first well, not the first, because like there have been lots of good examples, by the way, in the past of them people getting this largely correct.
Sure.
But he's going to be, instead of just bucking that trend, they're like, yeah, we're just going to phone it in as well. It's like, whatever, man. Everyone else is getting away with it. Everyone else is getting rich quick off this games as a service thing. Why not us? You know?
I think what you said was so true. You know, like for them to really, it's such a disappointing thing to hear because Todd Howard is an industry giant.
Yeah.
For him to sit there and be like, you know, we're part of the cog. You know, we're part of this shitty wheel. You know, he was
break the wheel, Todd.
Break the wheel,
break
everybody.
the wheel.
And I think that people would have really liked to look at this and go, okay, perfect example of an industry giant trying to break the wheel, trying to do something that just repairs the live service model, you know. But we don't see that here. We just see, you know, a very snaky side, you know. Let's just be honest. It's a snaky side, and people that are
and not the cool solid snake.
Yes,
the shitty,
the liquid snake.
Liquid snake.
Okay, that's what we're seeing here.
Has that hair like Liquid a little bit? If it was blonde, he could probably play Liquid in a movie.
I don't think so. I think he could play like brother.
So look, that's really the bulk of the Fallout. There's more of the interview which we won't show you, but that's the Fallout bits. You know, like we love to joke around about Fallout 76. It is a gigantic meme, from the bags to the fucking Nuka-Cola rum to the fact they gave away everyone's personal data who were signing up for the replacement canvas bags, to all of the bugs that we saw, to everything about it was a total meme. But like, it's important to remember that at the core of this is a very, very dishonest effort to deceive consumers and also ship a game that is fundamentally broken at launch with the intention of maybe making it good in the future if people choose to stick around.
Yeah, exactly.
And so great, let's have a laugh, and the Laymen are always down for that, but let's also focus on the fact that this was fucking garbage.
Exactly. I think it's a really good interview for a lot of people to remember when they're looking to line up for the next Bethesda game. You know,
100%.
like if we look at other industry giants like Corey or Hideo Kojima, like, do I ever think I would ever hear them sit there and go, yeah, we knew this game was shit, we're just going to do it anyway. You know, no, I just don't know. I just don't think we'll ever see that. And I think that just to see an industry giant like that sit there and be like, you know what, we knew we were being unethical, we're taking people's money, we're making them just sign up for something that we know is garbage, and we were just happy to take their money. It's like, dude, well, wow, okay, that sucks, but whatever.
Anyway,
Corey,
guys,
don't do that to us, okay?
Or
Never.
Hideo. It'd be so bad if Hideo.
It would be hideous if Hideo did that.
Oh my god.
Oh, and with that, guys, we are off. We are going to be back tomorrow with probably some more clickbait news. We will see you then. Take care.
Bye.
Tell me